In this video, we are going to talk about the exceptions. In Java, an exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of a program's instruction during execution. Exceptions are typically caused by errors such as invalid user input, device failure, or code errors. When an exception occurs, Java creates an exception object that contains information about the error, such as its type and the state of the program when the error happened. We have three types of exceptions. The checked exceptions. These are checked at compile time. This means if you're having an exception at this point, you will not pass the compilation step. Examples: IO exception, SQL exception. SQL exception may be true when you are trying to access a database such as Oracle or MySQL database. Unchecked exception, these occur at runtime and are not checked at compile time. Examples: null pointer exceptions, array index out of bounds exceptions. Probably, many of you got those exceptions when we played with the array. Errors. These are serious issues. Examples: out of memory error, Stack Overflow error. So in this case, you have basically no control on if an exception such as out of memory error will occur or not. All exception and error types are subclasses of the class throwable. The hierarchy is as follows: throwable, exception, IO exception, SQL exception, etc., error, out of memory error, Stack Overflow error. To handle an exception, we are going to do what we call a try-catch block. We write try, and inside a set of curly braces, we are going to write the exception, the expression that might throw an exception. And if it throws an exception, we will catch it with this keyword catch, and inside a set of parentheses, we will write the type of exception we want to catch, null pointer exception, with the name of the local variable. When the exception is catched, we will do what's inside the pair of curly braces, and we will be good to go. So one more time, try, inside the pair of curly braces, the code that may throw the exception, an exception. We use the catch set of parentheses and set of curly braces. Inside the catch parentheses, we give the type of exception we might throw, and what we will do when this code will throw an exception. We will do this instead. So you have to understand, if this code does throw an exception, I didn't do it, I cannot do it, and I'm going to do this code instead, all right? This way, my program will not crash. This is really important to understand it. When we throw an exception, if it's not catched, the program crashes, right? We don't want this. We want the program to keep running, so we will catch it. This way, the interpreter keeps doing its work and converting the bytecode. So by catching all exceptions, I will let my program keep going, keep running. Also, after the catch block, we can add the finally keyword with a set of curly braces, and inside it we will do an expression, we will do an action anyway. In both cases, if we catch or not an exception, we will do finally anyway. Okay? So at this point, you have to understand something. Catching an exception to prevent the program to crash is one thing, but telling the user what went wrong is better. All right? Because you can guess if my program try to do this and cannot do it for whatever reason, this means this action won't be done. Okay? So you have to inform the user to tell him or her what went wrong, and at the same time you're trying to do something else. But you have to inform the user, okay? So this is a bit tricky to understand because the try-catch blocks handle two problems: to prevent the program to crash and to tell the user to get the information, to provide information of what went wrong and why. Because it might be a bug, and we as developer, we need to know what went wrong to, why not, improve the code. In this try-catch block, I'm declaring an int array with 3 indexes. Of course, I'm trying to do an output of an index that doesn't exist. IntelliJ is already telling me array index is out of bounds. All right, with this yellow line. But as you know, that's not a checked exception, so it will pass the compilation step. So it's an unchecked exception, all right? So I'm saying I will catch, in this case, this will throw an exception. I will catch an array index out of bound exception, and I'm giving it a name because it's a variable, right? So it's the type of my variable, which is an exception, an object for the purpose of catching exceptions, and the name of my variable. Inside the set of curly braces, I'm doing something else, because if I'm here, I know this went wrong. I'm doing, in this case, an output saying something went wrong, plus, as E is an object of type array index out of bound exception, it has methods also, of course, and we have get message that returns the detailed message string of this throwable. All right. So in other words, we will have the message of the exception and will tell us more on an accurate way what happened. And I'm trying something else. So having the information is one thing, but trying to do something else instead of this is also important, because we didn't do this code. So if we want to do it, we can try it another way. So I'm declaring another time the array. There's no problem because this array is not in this scope. It's trapped inside this pair of curly braces. And this time I'm trying to do an outprint of a correct index, because we have 1, 0, 1, 2, so I will have probably the 3 on my console. And I will do finally something. So let's run this short program to know what's going to happen, to see. Indeed, my try catch block catch an array index out of bound exception, and I'm having what's inside the catch block. Something went wrong, index 10 out of bound for length 3. So here, this is the message that returns the getMessage method inside my array index out of bound exception object, all right? And then my code here worked pretty well because I'm doing an output of the index 2. And the finally is executed. To check if my program will not crash, I will add an output after the finally block. So if I'm hitting the line 40, I will know my try-catch finally block worked and my program is still running after catching the exception. So let's do it. It's working. Program still running. See? Also, we can do it this way. We can add the keyword throw new arithmetic exception. In the case, this will return false, right? True, sorry. If this is true, I'm going to execute this block and to throw an exception with a custom string. And also I can add inside the signature of a method throws, the keyword throws, IO exception for instance. This means when I'm going to call this method, if this code throw an exception, my method will return also the exception, right? Will throws the exception. So I want to show you what's happening when I'm not catching an exception. So we did a try catch block. And in this case, I will not catch anything. I will just try to access an index that doesn't exist. And here we go. So in this case, our program crashed. Exception in thread main, Java, etc. Index 10 out of bound for length 3. At least you're having the information on what went wrong, because the array index out of bound exception is providing you the message, but also the line where it happened, line 31, but it's too late. You guessed it. Our program crashed, and we don't want this. We want to prevent it from crashing, all right? I hope everything is clear, and I will catch you in the next lecture.